After a record RBS Six Nations victory for Scotland over Italy last time out, interim coach Scott Johnson made just one change: Jeff Cross in for Ewan Murray, who doesn't play on a Sunday for religious reasons. The Scots looking for a first home win over Ireland in the Six Nations since 2001. The Irish showed 5 changes following injuries to many key players. Coach Declan Kidney gave Paddy Jackson and Luke Marshall full debuts. The selection of Jackson ahead of Ronan O'Gara, a big call by the coach. The visitors started the game brightly, and Marshall looked particularly lively in the first 10 minutes. In the side, in place of the injured Gordon Darcy, Marshall made a couple of line breaks that suggested he'd be a real threat to the Scots throughout the afternoon. Although nothing came of this one, it was an impressive start to Test rugby for the Ulster centre. In the 15th minute, Scotland were temporarily reduced to 14 men when referee Wayne Barnes produced a yellow card for Scottish loosehead Ryan Grant after he was perhaps harshly judged to have impeded Conor Murray's sniping run. It gave Paddy Jackson a chance to open his account, but his kick was rather scuffed and it remained scoreless. In an entertaining, if low-scoring first half, Ireland dominated possession and Keith Earls was next to break the Scottish defensive line. The Munster man showing great pace, although Brian O'Driscoll was disappointed the winger didn't manage to find him with what probably would have been a try-scoring pass. O'Driscoll having a few quiet words with Earls afterwards. Eventually, the person operating the scoreboard was put to work 36 minutes in. Scotland penalised for not releasing, and Jackson was left with the relatively straightforward task of putting it over the bar. He kept his calm and found the target for his first points in Test rugby and Ireland's first points of the match. In first half injury time, Stuart Hogg had a long-range penalty opportunity to level the scores, but his kick from 51 metres, although on target, just fell short, and Ireland went in with a slender lead at the break. Early in the second half, Ireland looked to have conjured a key score. With the Irish pounding the Scottish rearguard, it was phase after phase and plenty of patience from the away team. The ball was eventually collected by Craig Gilroy, and the Ulster winger did well to pirouette through the tackle and cross the line for the opening try of the game. Jackson's conversion attempt struck the upright and went wide, but Ireland led 8 points to 0. Scotland's response to that setback was positive, and for the first time in the match they were starting to look like a threat in attack. In the 52nd minute, Ireland were penalised for offside, and Greg Laidlaw's kick went right through the posts to reduce the deficit to 5 points. Paddy Jackson had another chance to stretch Ireland's lead soon after. Not an easy opportunity, but again his kick went to the right. Another chance lost, and soon he'd be replaced by Ronan O'Gara. Midway through the second half, the Scotland comeback continued. Ireland's scrum penalised in front of the posts, and Laidlaw gratefully converted the resultant penalty. It was now Scotland 6, Ireland 8, and all to play for. The momentum seemed to be swinging towards the home side, and that momentum saw Scott Johnson's team take the lead for the first time in the match in the 63rd minute. The Scots finding a foothold in the Irish 22, signs of slight panic from the men in green, and when Laidlaw stepped up to kick the penalty, there was a sense of inevitability about the outcome. He struck it sweetly, and somehow in a game that Ireland had dominated for so long, it was Scotland who led 9-8. Declan Kidney described the decision to omit O'Gara as a very difficult one, and when he came on, the Munster out-half seemed uncertain. His crossfield kick looked like a rush of blood that could have had very costly consequences. With Scotland looking to seize on the mistake, Ireland managed to retrieve the situation, but then O'Gara failed to find touch with his clearance, and that would spell more trouble for his side. This was O'Gara's 129th cap for Ireland, but the poise he's brought to the out-half position over the years seemed to be lacking. The penalty that was awarded in the aftermath gave Scotland the chance to extend their lead. Laidlaw making no mistake with the kick, and Scotland led 12-8 with 6 minutes left to play. Ireland huffed and puffed, and with the clock past 80 minutes were awarded a penalty, but O'Gara's pass to Marshall was high, and when he knocked it on, It was a cue for the Scots to celebrate their first back-to-back Six Nations wins since 2001. It was back-to-back defeats in the Championship for Ireland for the first time since 2008. It may have been low scoring, but it was never less than absorbing. Final score at Murrayfield, Scotland 12, Ireland 8.